Good morning. Now, like and subscribe and share and give me my just due. Because I told you all when Russia attacked Ukraine, Ukraine didn't stand a chance. Did not stand a chance. But this is the key to it. Now, check out how all of this is unfolding. Russia attacks Ukraine because the United States is trying to surround Russia with NATO. Because the United States plan was to, once Ukraine was into NATO and the war machine had built up enough ammunitions, then they were going to start the United States was going to start a proxy war with Russia, with bombs and things coming in from the Ukraine and maybe Poland into Russia. Putin is a genius when it comes to war. He's a genius. Putin was in KGB. Putin came up through the ranks. He saw the expansion of NATO. He saw that. And if you don't think that Putin didn't prepare for that, you crazy. Then he talked to Xi from China. And they started BRICS long time ago. Got 5 nations. Now they're up to 10. And they have 34 more nations wanting to join BRICS. So the first thing that BRICS did was what BRICS is doing is crippling the United States economy. So the United States is losing the war financially. They've lost the war of propaganda following Israel. There is no, and then South Africa took Israel to the ICJ. Everybody is playing their part. Then Hamas does what? Before that, Hamas attacks Israel, October 7th. That was a military maneuver. They didn't expect. They took out 400 military personnel. They didn't expect Israel to be so clumsy as to kill 800 of its own people. That was just, that fiasco they didn't expect. But anyway, Israel kept playing into the game, bombing hospitals, schools, mosques, what have you. And the United States was bagging them up. But see, understand this. Before the United States was backing them up, United States was supplying who? Ukraine. United States was supplying Ukraine with weapons in the hope of crippling Russia financially with the cost of the war. Okay, so now Russia had already started building up their military for this strike on Ukraine because Putin kept telling them, he told them what he was going to do. He kept telling them, I'm going to take out Ukraine if you don't stop. United States didn't stop, and Putin attacked them. Then the United States thought that the sanctions, which the United States used as a weapon, would weaken Russia. It didn't. He was already prepared for this because North Korea and China were going to supply him if he needed it. So he attacked Ukraine. Okay, now the United States thinks, okay, we're just going to just keep sending weapons and we're going to drain him financially. So now October 7th come up, boom, Hamas hits Israel. So now you got a proxy war going on against Hamas and against with Hamas against Israel, and Iran backing Hamas and the Houthis and Hezbollah. Iran is backing them up. So now the United States, which Putin knew was going to happen, has got to supply Israel with military equipment. Now the United States is fighting on two fronts. But guess what? Putin is only fighting in the Ukraine. So he's got one fight in the Ukraine, and that's right on his border. So he don't have to worry about supply lines or nothing like that. All he got to do is what he knew he was going to do: beat the slop out of Ukraine. Now, while he's beating the slop out of Ukraine, now the United States has got to finance Israel also. So now the United States is doing what? Cutting supplies to where? To the Ukraine. Now understand this. This is supposed to be the United States and NATO is supposed to be supplying Ukraine. But guess what? NATO has always depended on the United States. The United States was supposedly defending all of Europe. Then the United States got 800 bases all over the world with approximately 1,000 or so people on there. Soldiers, guess what? They are sitting ducks. The United States only have about 500,000 military people. And why is this? Because the United States weapon was sanctions. Sanctions were the weapons of the United States. The United States protection, sanctions was the offense. Our protection was the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. See, it's easy to start a war and fight wars in somebody else's backyard. You see? But now, this is a time of what? Nuclear missiles. Nuclear missiles that can hit the United States. This is not 1948. And guess what? Warheads are improved. They're improved. So you can take out a tank with a handheld rocket launcher with warheads on it. So now you're losing the war in cost. It is not cost effective to have to defend a $6 million tank from a $10,000 rocket launcher. And they're taking them out in Israel. So Israel, United States, is losing the war economically, losing it from a propaganda standpoint, because Israel is blowing up hospitals and schools and refugee camps, which makes no sense and is genocide. Then you had South Africa doing what it was supposed to do: take Israel to the ICJ. China, the United States already has a deficit, and so China started selling off the United States dollar and taking over global trade and using the yen and other currencies to settle monetary transactions. So now the dollar is defeated again. The dollar is taking a beating. It's going down in value because of BRICS, and then we got a $34 trillion deficit, and now we're throwing away more money, trying to fight two wars. NATO has always depended on the United States because we were selling them wolf tickets that we this, we that, we this, we that. We got this. It's a paper tiger. All this expensive military equipment ain't worth it. Look, United States sent 2 aircraft carriers in there. Them things is worth billions and billions of dollars, $6 billion a piece, maybe close to $1 trillion when you think about the airplanes and everything on it, and the manpower and the supply ships you have. And guess what? Iraq can take them out with kamikaze speedboats. Kamikaze speedboats. That's just a speedboat with a bunch of bombs on it, and then you send it toward the carrier. Or you can hit the carrier with drones or GPS-guided missiles. Russia even has bombs that when you drop the bombs, they call smart bombs, and they have GPS in them to hit. They don't just fall straight down. They fall, the engine starts, and then they take off toward their goal. United States, old-fashioned stuff. This is a different type of war. So we're losing the war economically. Israel, a drone costs about $2,000 or $3,000. A bomb, a missile sent, $2,000 or $3,000. The Iron Dome defense system, they have to take out those $2,000 and $3,000 drones and missiles with $1 million guided missiles. So you're losing a war there. And then as soon as they want to take Israel out, they can take them out. Because they can send thousands of drones at Israel at one time, and Israel don't have enough missiles to take them out. You see, this is all just a matter of time. Everything is playing out sequentially in time and space. First, BRICS knocked down the dollar, hit Ukraine. Boom, United States is funding Ukraine. Then do what? Then hit Israel, have Israel hit Hamas. Now the United States, like I said, is fighting 2 proxy wars, and we're already $34 trillion in debt. And we're funding 2 wars. Russia's only funding 1 war. Iran is funding the other war, and they got China funding the monetary war. Now, let's go to Africa. Putin has taken care of Ukraine, so now he's sending troops where? To Africa, to the Sahel Alliance. He's sending troops to the Sahel Alliance in Africa. All this stuff about the United States recolonizing Africa with mercenaries, that's crap. Because NATO sent mercenaries to the Ukraine. France sent mercenaries to the Ukraine. United States sent mercenaries to the Ukraine. And guess what? They got their asses kicked. And they're getting beat up in over in the Mideast. Because now that they got the Ukraine secured, Russia is preparing for anything that goes down in Africa. Algeria, talking about attacking Niger. You're not going to attack Niger with Russia there. Russia is done. Ukraine put a fork in them, they're done. Okay? Now Putin can turn his attention. All he got to do is mop up, sweep and mop. And that's done. The people in Africa, they 100% for Putin and Russia. Russia and China sent billions and billions of dollars worth of, well, Russia did send billions and billions of dollars worth of free grain to Africa. Billions of dollars, billions and millions of tons of free grain to Africa. United States, okay, we'll give you $400 million if you have gay sex. I mean, the United States is doing cocaine, having gay sex and feminine in the White House. This is what's running this country. You got a guy supposed to be President Biden, he's out of it. He can't even walk a straight line. He can barely walk up the steps to Air Force One. Putin is in the cockpit of the most advanced fighter jet in the world, going for a spin, taking control of the wheel for a second. Can't make this up. You got Trump. He's a loser. Been a loser all his life. He has no military intelligence. Trump has no military intelligence. Biden has no military intelligence. We got all these generals that moved up the ranks. Nepotism. They don't have. Putin came up KGB. He's been all up in that stuff. Putin's been planning this for a long time with China. They have worked this thing out methodically. Now you have Putin in Africa. And he's going to build a nuclear power plant. And then from that nuclear power plant, they're going to build nuclear weapons. And Africa will be a superpower. And it begins with the Sahel Alliance. And Africa is already cutting out exports and stuff to the United States. And the United States is just selling wolf tickets. That's all the United States is doing is selling wolf tickets. Every United States base that is in Africa is in trouble. They're already being attacked. The military bases in the United States and in Africa are being attacked already. The Houthis are attacking American ships in the Red Sea. And they got Iran, China, and Russian battleships in the Red Sea. They are ready for war. Putin just told you, I got some nukes and I will use them. I got some nukes, I will use them. Iran set off a nuclear missile to let you know. Putin just set off a nuclear missile to let the United States know. And don't think they can't reach the United States with those missiles. The United States is going broke trying to defend NATO, the European countries. But the reason why is because the United States held the European countries down. They didn't want the European countries to be able to defend themselves because of United States hegemony. We wanted to control everything. So we held Europe back. Told them, don't worry about anything. If something happens, we got you. Now Europe is saying, well, okay, then you're gonna protect us. Then we're not, okay, cool, we'll do it, but we're not paying for then we have to stop funding our military. We're going to stop funding our military, stop funding NATO because you said you got this. And the United States feel like, yeah, all we have to do is sanctions is our offense. Well, BRICS removed the offense. BRICS removed the offense. The United States is not, can't control the currency. You see, I explained this in other things. The IMF and the World Banks are controlled by Israel and the United States, so they can put sanctions on anybody they want. But the sanctions don't work anymore because they have another currency, and they are using trade, international trade of actual goods for resources and services. So that's done. And more countries. And now, because Russia has defeated NATO in the United States and the Ukraine, and Israel is getting ready to be destroyed, all these countries are going to they're watching what's happening, and they're saying, okay, if we join BRICS, there's no more risk. They defeated the United States militarily, they defeated the United States monetarily, and they won with the war on propaganda with South Africa at the ICJ. Game, set, match. This is like a chess game where the United States is just moving pieces around, but the end is inevitable. So what is the United States going to? Propaganda. But you already lost the propaganda when Israel bombed the hospital, then bombed the refugee camp, and genocide loses the propaganda war. So what does Israel do? Okay, we're going to save Africa. Everybody's laughing at that. Save Africa from who? The United States? Save Africa from who? The European Union? The colonizers? Really? Who in God's name do you think believes that? They're just moving pawns now. All the United States and Israel doing is moving pawns, and they being taken. And they being taken left and right. Like I said, it's just a matter of time. And I told all of my subscribers, stock up on food. Stock up on food. Europe is in disarray. Let me tell you what the United States did too. Germany had a pipeline going straight to Germany from Russia. The United States, Germany was leaning toward BRICS. So what did the United States do? Bomb and broke the pipeline. So now Germany has to, and Russia was selling its oil and gas cheaper than the United States. So now Germany has to buy its oil and gas from who? The United States at a higher price. And it has to travel a longer distance. All of Europe is in trouble. All of Europe is in trouble. And these sanctions, when you put a sanction on a country, then countries were trading for a reason, because not because they were friends, because they needed those resources. So when you tell one country don't trade with the other country, you're hurting both countries. You're hurting both countries. And the European Union, they don't have no choice but to go along with it, because the United States and Israel control the IMF and the World Banks. So they can't get their money out if they don't follow instructions. United States tell me we're going to put sanctions on South Africa. South Africa ain't worried about the United States sanctions. They got BRICS. And the United States gets its uranium from Russia. And uranium is what you build nuclear weapons with. All Russia got to do is stop selling the United States uranium. I mean, the United States, like I said, you got people in there in the White House doing cocaine and having gay sex. And I'm going to tell you this, it ain't just them, it's a whole bunch of them doing that coke. It's a whole bunch of them doing that coke. And instead of jumping on black athletes for smoking marijuana, doing cocaine or whatever, that's a game. It doesn't matter who wins the NBA championship or the Super Bowl. What matters is those people running our country, and they're running it into the ground. You've spent all this money building a fence that Trump said was nobody could get through. Then you come find out that people can go over the thing in less than a minute. You can buy a $99 saw from Walmart and cut through the thing, and on a windy day, the wind will blow it down. Then Any country in the world that did what Trump did, if it was in the Middle East, the guy would have been beheaded. If it would have been in Russia, he'd have been hung or executed. I mean, I don't think any country in the world, a person could have got away with that with a life sentence. They would have been executed. Trump is running for president. Giving him a second chance at a coup. The United States don't have no friends in this world. The United States and Europe, they're stuck. All the countries that were colonized and enslaved, they want some smoke and they want some get back. Like and subscribe. Talk to you later. Yeah, and this time, subscribe to the channel. Like and subscribe to the channel. And guess what? If you go back in my videos under Ministry of Truth, you will see I told you all this. I told you all this 6 months ago. 6 months ago. Now you can see it play out. But guess what? The United States news media ain't doing nothing but lie to you. They ain't doing nothing but lying. Well, like I said, like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.